Just a little brief history. 17 years ago today, we started this memorial or Veterans Park, and our first ceremony was Veterans Day. And as I recall, it was cold. I mean, very cold. In fact, we hider seated the area, and it was just like ice, frosted over. 17 years ago, I had a lot more hair, no gray hair. It was, totally different than what it is now, 17 years later. I got less hair, a lot of gray hair, but I still have my teeth. So, anyways, just want to let you know that I served in Vietnam. I'm very proud of the fact that I was in the U.S. Army. I think it was a just war. When you're involved in something, you got to give it your heart. It doesn't matter if it's in the service, if you're working, you've got to give it all. You don't do it halfway. There's no justification for that. I can remember when I was a kid, my father and my uncle. My father was in World War II in the U.S. Army, and my uncle was in Korea during the war. And I remember how they used to get all wound up over Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And I never thought much about it because I was just a young teenage kid. And I thought, boy, what a waste going to the post and cooking hot dogs and trying to get different veterans to come in and all that kind of stuff. But they used to really put a lot into it. And I really didn't realize until after I came back from Vietnam, quite a few years after actually, and I started getting involved with different groups. And there is a camaraderie that we do have, and I like to think that we're all a band of brothers. If you maybe went over to war or stateside, we're all veterans. We all wear the uniform of the United States of America, and we are one team. So with that being said, I'd like to start the program, and we're going to call the order to raise the flag. No, don't tie it off. Tie it off. Okay, we'd like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would join in with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would like to invite Nicole Marcio to come up to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, sad to report the mayor's not going to be here today. I know how he likes coming out here and mingling with veterans and also the public. And he's picked a good alternate, and it's Councilman Mark Tisdale. Would you please come up to the podium? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Leafdale, and thank you to the Honor Guard and all the active military and veterans that are here, and my colleague Kevin Brown. Councilman Brown served on a nuclear submarine in the Navy. Thank you for your service. Then Cain rose up against Abel and slew him. And that's how it all got started, right? Cain, the son of Adam and Eve, opened the door to evil, and we've been battling ever since. The battle between our good men and women and evil has never stopped. 18th century philosopher Edmund Burke put it this way: all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. Well, thank God the good men and women of these United States have chosen to fight evil. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. From George Washington crossing the Delaware River, and by the way, when he crossed that river, there were future Presidents Monroe and Madison, future Supreme Court Justice John Marshall, Alexander Hamilton, and Aaron Burr crossed that river with him. So from George Washington crossing the Delaware River to World War I Sergeant York, captured 32 machine guns and 132 German soldiers after killing 28 himself, after being wounded. To Butch, the son of Easy Eddie, one of Al Capone's attorneys. Butch became the Navy's first flying ace, now has a big airport named after him just outside of Chicago. To Audie Murphy, the son of Texas sharecroppers, who became the most decorated World War II combat soldier in American history, more than 33 medals and decorations. To Clara Barton, the angel of the battlefield, barely 5 feet tall, she had to repeatedly wring the blood out of her dress so she could make it from one soldier to another as she was treating the injured and dying from both sides at the Battle of Antietam. And to the many names and stories of the men and women on the bricks and monuments here at Veteran Memorial Point. Thank God the good men and women of these United States have chosen to fight evil. And that brings us to the story of Rochester's own Samuel Harris. Mr. Harris had a small machine shop in Rochester, and in August of 1862, Captain Gray of the 1st Michigan Cavalry promised Mr. Harris the position of first lieutenant in the 5th Michigan Cavalry Company A if Mr. Harris would help him raise Company A. Well, Mr. Harris was barely eking out a living at his machine shop, so he accepted Captain Gray's offer and soon became First Lieutenant Samuel Harris. Armed with Spencer rifles that could shoot 14 rounds per minute compared to the 3 rounds per minute for the muzzle loaders, the 5th Michigan Cavalry pressed deep into Southern territory. Just as an aside, Michigan's 5th Cavalry sustained the highest casualty rates of any regiment in the war, north or south. Well, during one late afternoon scouting patrol, Lieutenant Harris came across a river crossing that seemed to be completely unguarded, except for a small house about a quarter mile the other side of the river. Well, it was his job to go over and check out that house. He carefully made his way to and through the front door and found 6 people inside, a Mrs. Brooke and her 5 children. Well, Mrs. Brooke told Lieutenant Harris that she and her 5 children were near starved to death, and it's something that he could plainly see with his own eyes. He replied to her, "Madam, I did not come here to fight women and children, and I will not see you starve on my watch." He left what food he had, probably some hardtack and salt pork. And the next day he returned with 4 bushel baskets full of rations for Mrs. Brooke and her 5 children as the 5th Michigan Cavalry Company A moved on to search for Confederate troops. And they found Confederate troops, all right, several times. Lieutenant Harris eventually became wounded, captured, sent to Libby prison, and was sentenced to hang by the neck until dead because he helped some of his fellow Union soldiers escape. Apparently that was frowned upon. Well, before his death sentence could be carried out, a Mrs. Verena Howell Davis, the wife of Confederate President Jefferson Davis, intervened on Lieutenant Harris's behalf. Seems Mrs. Brooke, that woman in the small house with her 5 starving children, was Verena Davis's college roommate. And she had written a letter to Mrs. Davis telling her about Lieutenant Harris's kindness and asked that if he was ever captured, would she protect him. Well, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men and women do nothing. Well, thank God the good men and women of this United States have chosen to fight evil. Today you can go to the Rochester Police Department, and right outside there's a big Gothic drinking fountain that was dedicated to the memory of the 5th Michigan Cavalry. It was donated by Lieutenant Harris. It's there today. Today and every day, let us all thank God for the good men and women that have chosen to fight evil. That's why we're here today. Thank you for coming out to celebrate Veterans Day. May God bless our fair city.
What a great speech. I could listen to you all day with the history stuff. I really like that kind of stuff, so it was a good speech. Very good. Thank you. I'd also like to invite Nana to come up, please. And she is with the Special Events Association, the ALS Association, better known as the Lou Gehrig's disease.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very thankful and truly very honored to be here today to represent the ALS Association Michigan chapter to pay a small and humble tribute to our country's brave veterans. Some of you may know about ALS. It's better known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Others may have come to know about ALS through the Ice Bucket Challenge that happened in August. ALS is truly a horrible disease. It cripples a person entirely before finally claiming their lives. And while we strive every day to learn more about what this disease does, how it affects people, and also how it can be cured, one of the things we have come to learn is that ALS has a connection to veterans. Veterans are twice as likely to contract ALS than anyone else in the population. And so every day we strive and we fight to defeat ALS and to keep it out of the lives of our veterans who have so bravely fought for us. So today we take an extra step. We want to come out here to say thank you, to say that we are so very grateful to you. Thank you for fighting for us, for protecting us, and thank you for risking your lives for our own. It's truly a noble act, more than what words can say. Thank you so much.
Okay, at this time, we're going to have our honor guard place our military cross. We will not forget two individuals, Sergeant McLean, Kyle McLean, and First Lieutenant Adam Malson. They gave the ultimate sacrifice. Okay, we're going to have the placement of our wreaths. Wreaths behind our wreath in the DAV. Set the wreaths up. Sean, you want? American Legion Post 172, Commander, please come up. American Legion Post 172, Commander, please come up. Disabled Veterans, Chapter 129, President, please come up.
My name is Dave Olson. I am with the Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 129. Mark Williams is the commander at the hall over there. Unfortunately, he was unable to be here this morning, wasn't feeling good, so I will fill in his stead. World War I, known at the time as the Great War, officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919, in the Palace of Versailles, in the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased several months earlier when hostilities between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November the 11th, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. In November 1919, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day with the following words: "To us in America, the reflection of Armistice Day will be filled with a solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the things from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given Americans to show her sympathy with the peace and justice in the Council of all the nations. Today, we especially honor those great veterans who have given their lives in the defense of liberty, and we also recognize all veterans who have honorably worn the uniform of this great nation. To our veterans all across the world, we have a simple message: thank you. Thank you for your service. We want you to know that your example serves to inspire others to follow in our footsteps. Thank you for your selfless service in peacetime and in war, here in the nation and throughout the world. For all veterans, regardless of their service and their era in which they served, we have paid a price for the freedom that we enjoy today. Currently, our soldiers are serving in 120 countries throughout the world, and the legacy of our veterans continue to inspire each of them to answer the call of duty. So today, when you join me in thanking our veterans for their service, applaud them not for just their past service, but for the example that they set for our current and future military. And let us thank them not only today, but Veterans Day, but every day. Remember our veterans and the price they have paid, both physical and emotional, to keep their nation safe. Thank you. God bless. God bless our soldiers and veterans, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
VFW Post 3908 Commander, please come up.
Good morning. I'm John Benzik, Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 3908. I'd like to thank everyone for coming to honor our veterans, their wives, their husbands, children, parents, and siblings. Today we honor all veterans now serving and those who have served. Veterans Day is a federal holiday. It is observed on November 11th in the United States. It coincides with similar occasions in other countries, like Remembrance Sunday in Great Britain. The choice of the date is no coincidence. It falls on the anniversary of the day in 1918 when all hostilities between Germany and the Allied forces ceased, heralding the end of the First World War. Veterans Day was celebrated for the first time a year later in 1919 at the proclamation of President Wilson. The armistice became effective on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Through its 96-year history, Veterans Day was originally called Armistice Day, and various dates were celebrated. On September 20th, 1975, President Gerald Ford signed a public law, 94-97, which returned the original observance of Veterans Day to the original date of November the 11th, beginning in 1978. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to thank all our veterans, all our veterans who have served now and who have served before. May God bless our nation. Thank you.
At this time, I will call the post chaplain to come up to read a prayer from VFW Post 3908.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. My name is Pete DeVolder, chaplain of 3908. Everybody that has hats on, would you please remove? Oh Lord, today I thank you for our veterans, for their willingness to risk all so that our nation might dwell in peace and safety. May they find the honor and recognition they truly deserve. I pray that you will heal the physical, spiritual, and psychological wounds of some of these veterans have suffered. Bring the lasting peace to those who mourn the loss of comrades. Help them to find your love and mercy so they may cope with the actions they may have to take while they served our country. Make them realize that the rules of engagement in war do not always follow the laws of Christianity, but give them solace by your scripture passages and show them that sometimes battle is necessary for the common good. Amen.
Okay, I want to take a few moments to thank the Knights of the Columbus for being here today, the Oakland County Sheriffs, our fire department, our city staff that are out here, and of course the residents. Without you, none of this would take place. And it is a special day to us veterans, and we sure appreciate the way you treat us. So with that, we'll have our closing ceremony, the lowering of the flag, a 21-gun salute, and then the playing of taps. One thing I wanted to say before I do close, the two names that I mentioned earlier, Adam Malson and Kyle McCain, they used to play out here. They used to play out here as kids. And it's those type of people that we can never forget about. And every day I come out here, or when I do come out here, I think about those two boys. So I hope when you do come through here, it's not only the bricks, special memorial areas of those two boys playing in this area. So it comes with a heavy price. Forward flag. Late last night, I was on a service call for the City of Rochester Hills. For over 17 years, I've wondered who brought the roses out. I questioned everybody about it, and I got to tell you folks, there is an angel among us, and I met her last night. We had quite a talk, and she told me she'd break every bone in my body if I told who it is. So, with that, it's our secret. So, I hope she keeps it up, and is very well appreciated, and the roses are yours to take for the veterans to take home to your wives or your loved ones from this little angel that I know. Thank you. That's our ceremony today.